Hello, it's episode 212 of Nuggets Dungeon Terrain. In this episode, I'll be creating an on-ramp, off-ramp as terrain for Gaslands or a post-apocalyptic game. So this video is in two distinct parts for two different reasons. The first is the overall design that I was going for changed quite a lot, and I ended up splitting the model in half and creating two pieces. The second is that at this halfway point I also switched to a different video recording system. So here in version A, I'm creating this on-ramp or off-ramp onto a motorway or a freeway using this block of XPS foam. Here I'm creating the barriers on each side. For the metal side barrier, I use a double strip of corrugated card. I attack the high end of it with some pliers to break away the edges, and then use a rock to mess up the concrete effects in all the other areas. So here's the piece that I created. Initially I was happy with it. It scaled out pretty well and you could fit multiple cars on the ramp. It would be good in the game because you could use it to do jumps. But I decided to split it in half, and this is what it became in the end. To make it more cohesive with my other terrain, I also put it on a laser cut MDF base. To cut it in two, all I did was simply run it through the middle with my Proxon, doing small jagged bumps as I went so that it wasn't too uniform. I don't want this car to look like it had somehow broken or crashed and damaged the ramp. Instead, I wanted it to look like it had been sitting on the ramp, and when the ramp had fallen to ruin, it had crushed and tumbled down one side. This type of UHU glue melts into XPS foam, so I was more than happy to apply some on this section so that as I pushed the car in, it would kind of weld into place. I knew it wouldn't be very realistic if the ramp just turned into boulders on one side, so because the bitumen flat top would remain in parts intact, I applied a couple of flat areas of XPS foam to the top of the boulders to make it look like this had happened. With some of the patina paints in place, it's pretty obvious there's too stark a contrast between the flat white paint of the acrylics and the rust effects. So I add some crushed chalk pastel to age the car a little bit more. And finally some tussocks of grass. I know I don't have this on my other pieces of terrain, but with these ones being a little bit bigger and a little bit sheltered, I figured there's a chance that there might be a few tucked away in there somewhere. Oh, and of course there's one real advantage in dividing the on-ramp into two and making two separate ones.
Now that the ramp was finished, General Lee was raring to take off like the Yankees at Manassas. Long about now, I bet that boy wishes he had a parachute. General. like a piece of cake.